Well, I forgot to grab the link. There it is. Hello. How's everybody doing this weekend? As you can see, I'm feeling a little bit better than I was in my last video that I posted on Friday. I was a wreck the other day. I'm still not 100%, but I'm definitely improving. Still a little like coffee, as in cough, cough, you know. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. I'm doing better. So anytime I have some sort of cold or allergy attack or anything like that, or if I'm exposed to like fumes or anything, I always end up with bronchitis. So now that the cold is going away, I'm probably going to end up with bronchitis because that's just my MO. But that's all right. How has your weekend been going? Hopefully I don't have any horrible coughing fits, but I discovered I can mute the microphone if I have one. So just been kind of taking it easy this weekend. Today I went out there and did a bit of mowing, did all the stuff around the house that needed mowing. Mr. Smith's going to be mowing the backyard here in a little bit, if he remembers. He said he was going to. We'll see if he does. He was just wanting me to come in the house and rest. And yeah, so he's like, you go in the house. I'll take care of this tonight. I'm like, okay. So, but got all the stuff that needed to be done. This week I'll pull out that new weed eater. Went to the store the other day and picked one up. And actually got a free attachment, so it was kind of the right time to go and buy one. They had a big sale going on at Lowe's where you could get a free attachment with your weed eater. So I got not only the string trimmer part, the main part, but then I also got a brush trimmer, which might come in kind of handy with some of the areas around here that we have to weed eat, like around the grape arbors and stuff like that, where it gets really thick and I don't weed eat around it very often, so there's usually quite a bit in there to do. So that might come in a little bit handy. So hopefully this weed eater lasts a little bit longer. The last one we bought only lasted a year, and I think the one before that lasted about that long too. I'm kind of leaning towards agreeing with Mr. Smith and with his conspiracy theory on manufacturers making things that only last a year and then you have to replace them. So brewed a nice hot pot of coffee. I've been drinking a lot of tea, of course, the past few days to get over this sickness that I've been dealing with. So been on the mend. This week, I'll be heading up to Wisconsin, going and visiting my family, which I'm looking forward to. It's been a few years since I've been up there. I think the last time I went up there was like 2015. So it's been a few years. I'm only going to be up there for a few days, so I won't be able to get to see everybody. I know there's going to be people who want to see me, but I will be seeing my parents, who are the reason to be going up there. And then I'll be having that coffee meetup in Beloit, Wisconsin on early Saturday morning. And I have the information about that posted in my Facebook group, as well as on the Facebook page, Cosmopolitan Cornbread. And that way, if there's anybody who is in the northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin area who would like to meet me, I will be at that coffee shop. And I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's listed in the information for the event. And I plan on being at that coffee shop at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll probably spend a couple of hours there. It just depends on how many people arrive. If there's more people, I'll stay longer. But I will probably leave by lunchtime at the latest, just because I'm only going to be up there for a couple of days, and I don't want to take too much time away from my parents. I'm sure y'all understand. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the visit, seeing how much my old stomping grounds have changed since I've been last up there. Not really looking forward to the drive. I mean, I love road trips. I do. I love getting out and just driving and seeing the scenery and everything. But it's going to be a long drive. I think it's like an 11-hour drive from here to my parents. So it's going to be a tiring one. So, but that's okay. Not quite sure which route I'm going to take yet. I need to look and see. I don't think the traffic should be too bad. I know I'm going to have to skirt through Nashville, which is always, I always have a little anxiety of going through Nashville just because of the traffic. I hate the traffic, and Nashville's usually pretty bad. I think I've only gone through Nashville once, maybe twice, and not hit just quagmire traffic. Chattanooga is kind of the same way. I seem to always end up in just, well, in Germany they call it a Stau, a Stau, and you just get there and you don't move. It's like a parking lot on the middle of the road. But hopefully it'll be all right. I don't think I'm going through any other big cities other than Nashville. I don't think I'm going to go through Chicago. I will probably take the more direct north and south route that kind of takes me through the middle of Illinois, and so I think I think it should be all right. It's just going to be a long trip. Like I said, it's going to be about 11 hours one way, but I'm looking forward to it. It's been a few years, and it should be a lot of fun. My parents always come down here in usually October and come for a visit, so it's kind of fitting that I go up there and make the trip as well. But last year, when they came down for the visit, my mother had actually talked about having me, oh, thank you, Atkins Family Homestead. My mom had talked to me about all of these old photos that she has. Now, when we were on our way up to Alaska, we stopped and visited Mr. Smith's family for a few days in Tennessee, and then we went to my family up in Wisconsin for a few days, and then we made our way the rest of the 6,000 miles up to Alaska. And while we were there at my parents', my mom brought out this shoebox of really old photos, ones I had never laid eyes on before. And it was just so awesome going through there and seeing these photos of like my grandmother and my grandfather when they were really young. I think one of the pictures of my grandmother, she was about 14 years old, and I'd never seen these. And she told me that they actually have lots of these, not only on her side of the family, but on my dad's side of the family as well. And I was astounded. I'm like, oh, I am a huge history buff. And when Mr. Smith was deployed, when he was in the Army, especially when things first started, it was a very stressful time. There was no communication, and your imagination could get away with you, and you could find yourself very stressed out. And so my way of keeping my brain busy was researching ancestry. And so I did my family tree, and I went back every branch I possibly could, and I just spent hours and hours and hours researching all of this and compiling all this information. And so having the love of doing that, and then the love of history, knowing that there's this stash of old family photos somewhere, is exciting to me. And so my mom mentioned that she didn't know what to do with them. And I told her, well, I could digitize all those photos. And she's like, really? I'm like, absolutely, because I did that a while back, several years ago, for Mr. Smith's family. His mom and dad had a whole bunch of old photos, and I went through and I digitized all those. And then not only the person who has the physical photos would have them, but then the rest of the family could see them as well. They could download the digital files and all that. She's like, oh, but that would take a long time to do that. I'm like, Mom, if I was more than happy to do that for his family's photos, I would be even more happy to spend the time doing those for my family photos, So I'm anxious to go up there and see these photos that I've never seen before. It's pretty exciting. So that is what I have planned for this week. So this week, before I go out of town, I will probably do a run to the feed mill and get a bunch of feed all stocked up, fill up with the cans so that Mr. Smith doesn't have to worry about anything while I'm away. He's going to be staying here and holding down the farm, keeping everything shipshape while I'm away. Yeah, that's the plan, Atkins Family Homestead. We've got family that live all over the place, and everybody would love to see these photos. I know when I did it for my hubby's family, his cousins and aunts and uncles were just so thrilled to have access to those photos, because they were not necessarily photos that they had ever seen me for. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that with our family photos as well. Although I do need to order a new scanner, because the one that I've had for a very long time, and it's decided it doesn't like to talk to this computer that I'm using here. I can print with it, but I can't do anything in the opposite direction. So, but that's all right. That just gives me a good excuse to go get a new one that'll have a better scanning quality, a better pixel rate. So, but yes, as I was saying, I'll probably do a feed run this week. Have to look and see if we need it. Do you have any big plans for tomorrow? Actually, not really. We usually don't do a whole lot for Labor Day. It's just a day off. It's a day off. The post office isn't open, and you've got to wait an extra day when you're waiting for packages. I actually had the mail lady came up my driveway today, and I don't know what was being delivered, but she obviously had a package, but the gate was closed, because the gate's always closed unless we know something is coming. And before I could get out there, she backed up and took off. So I've got to wait 2 more days to figure out what that package was. I'm thinking it might be my, hi Ava, watch out baby. Please don't walk on the keyboard. Thinking it might be my new glasses I ordered, but I'm not sure. I don't think they deliver those on Sunday. I think it's just Amazon that the post office has a deal with, that they deliver on Sunday. I don't think I have anything coming from Amazon. So I don't know, but it'd probably just be chilling around the house, I suppose. And I apologize in advance if the dogs start barking. Mr. Smith just got home from the store. I just saw him pull in, and the dogs are all perking up. and like to announce it anytime anybody arrives, no matter who they are. Oh, goodness. So we were discussing it the other day. I think we're going to be adding another project to our to-do list here on our property. On the side of our house, we have a carport, and we've never really, Atkins family says priority mail delivers on Sunday in their area. Oh, well, okay, that might be. I don't know. We'll have to, I guess I'll find out on Tuesday. So we have a carport on the side of our house, and we never use it as a carport. We use it basically as a work area and an additional porch. I like sitting out there in the afternoon because it's in the shade, whereas my front porch is great, that faces out on the front garden most of the day, all morning, middle of the day, it's wonderful. But late afternoon or mid-afternoon, the sun swings around and it gets scathingly hot. Hello, welcome. And so we use the side porch, the carport, a lot as a porch. And so we were talking about it. We think we may actually convert the side porch, or convert the carport, huh?
Close it in.
Yes, close it in and convert it into a screened-in porch. So that is the plan. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's just another project we're adding to our project list around here. We have the greenhouse that we plan on building, and what else do we have planned? Mr. Smith just got home. He's here in the kitchen now. You can hear me where they're cooking. What other projects do we have that we're talking about doing?
Private golf course.
He says a private golf course. I don't think so. Although somebody seems to think that the pasture is his personal driving range. Atkins Family Homestead says, hello, Mr. Smith.
Howdy, howdy.
So the animals are all doing well. I had a couple of people asking about them, how they were doing. Rabbits are doing good. They're doing their thing in the rabbit tractor. I was actually contacted by another homesteading family here in the area earlier this week who has American blue rabbits like we do. And actually that is where Earl Grey, our male rabbit, came from. And they decided that they weren't going to be doing rabbits anymore. And he's over there shaking his head, and asked if we needed any more rabbits. And I told them the same thing. I'm like, no, excuse me. I think we're kind of over the rabbits. I mean, we enjoy the rabbits we have, and they will live their lives happy and content, and as long as they want to out there in their rabbit tractors. And they'll provide the fertilizer for the garden and all of that. But I'm just, after the two difficult experiences we had with breeding the rabbits, we just can't bring ourselves to do that again. And so, yeah, our 3 rabbits that we have out there are basically now designated as homestead pets. And thankfully, because they're in the rabbit tractors, because they're on the ground and they have access to the clovers and the grasses and all that, it costs us next to nothing to feed them. We do provide like hay in the wintertime when there's not a lot of natural vegetation out there. But because we move them every few days and they've always got fresh ground, they eat very little of the feed that we give them. And so it's not a big deal. They'll just be pets with free fertilizer. So Mr. Smith made some pulled pork in the Instant Pot. And he made some, hello Cindy, hello Plain Speaker, welcome. He's making some pulled pork. So he's got some barbecue sauce that he's mixing in over there. You might be able to hear him as he's stirring it around. But he made that with a pork loin, out of a pork loin. He's got a lot of meat over there, so I don't think we're going to have to cook anything tomorrow for Labor Day. He's shaking his head. No. There's a whole large mixing bowl over there is filled with pulled pork. So yeah, I think we're going to be good for a few days. And I made my German cabbage soup for dinner the other night. I've still got some of that in there. So yeah, I think we can take a vacation from cooking tomorrow. No labor in the kitchen for Labor Day. So where is everybody hailing from tonight? Are any of you in Florida or in the path of the hurricane? I'm a little concerned about everybody on the East Coast right now. It's looking a little sketchy. Ooh, pulled pork on salad. That sounds pretty good. I've had, oh, Ava, come here, baby. No, don't step on the keyboard. Come here. I've had pulled pork stuffed potatoes. I don't think I've had it on a salad before, though. In Ohio, in Kentucky, but moving to Ohio. Okay. Nevada, where it's 103. Ooh. We've had heat indexes of about that this week, but not temperatures. It's been warm. Oh, I know I'm not eating on camera.
What? Try a bite.
No.
Just try a bite.
No. Only if you get in the screen.
Hello. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good as yours, but it's good. It'll work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we did a total remodel of our new house. That's awesome. It was some pulled pork. Mr. Smith just got done cooking pulled pork, and he was mixing in the barbecue sauce, and he wanted me to try it because it was a barbecue sauce he picked up at the store as a Carolina style. And he said it's not as good as mine, but it's pretty good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's not bad. So I have a recipe for Carolina style barbecue. It's a pulled pork recipe, and I've made it for years. And I've done fundraisers selling plates of that. Made it for our daughter's wedding, made it for our son's wedding, made it for family reunions. It's a very good recipe, if I do say so myself. Yep, promotions, military functions. Yeah. I even got an award for it. Did you refinish your cabinet with the crackle finish yet? And did you have to sand it? I haven't done it yet. I did paint my other cabinet, and the one that has the crackle finish on it, I'm going to do a kind of like a whitewash. I'm going to just try and maybe thin out some white paint and go over that green and see what it does, and just see how it takes it. Maybe just tone down the green. I'm not sure. I have a feeling I'm probably going to end up sanding it, because when I originally painted it, I never sanded it or anything like that. I just painted over it with, I actually think it was just craft paint at the time. So it wasn't like a good durable furniture paint. So I don't think it's going to hold up to just being painted over. I know there's a bunch of spots where the green paint actually just scraped right off. So I think that one's going to end up being a little bit bigger of a project than I was originally thinking. So it may have to wait a little bit before I get around to doing it. We'll just have to wait and see. It's moved down on the priority list just a little bit. I like pulled pork on everything. Made pulled pork enchiladas. Oh, that sounds delicious. Robin's Simple Life. Hey, Constance, hope you're feeling better. I am doing better. I still sound a little rough, but I am doing much, much better. It'll take a little bit for my voice to come back. My cowboy smoked pork ribs today for our friends. Very good. That sounds fantastic. KFC. I made applesauce pork chops for dinner in the oven, and they came out amazing. That sounds good. I actually just got done doing 2 recipe collection posts for my blog today, and one of them is all apple recipes. I think it's either 40 or 50 recipes, and apple just goes so well with pork. Absolutely delicious. Well, it's a matter of taste. Thank you, Robin. Is your son healed from his injury so he can go back into his Army career? He is actually working on joining the National Guard instead, and he is currently on standby. He should be going to MEPS in September, and then it will just be a matter of whenever they decide that it's time for him to go. So he's doing. Yep. Being of German descent, Constance, have you ever made sauerbraten? Yes, I have made sauerbraten, and I actually have a recipe for it on my blog. And that's actually another, I wrote 2 recipe collection posts, and I did several newsletters that I got scheduled out. And one of them was all German recipes for Oktoberfest, and sauerbraten was one of those in there. Did you catch what critter was killing your ducks? We still have no idea what it was. Well, we have an idea, but we have no proof or evidence of what it was. I'm still fairly certain it was a hawk, just because we had no feather trail, no sign of anything, and it being in broad daylight. So yeah, pretty sure it was a hawk that got our duck, and there's not too much you can do about that. My mom was German, and she made it once in my lifetime, and I just remember it being heaven on a plate. I keep promising my husband that I'll make it, but I haven't. I do have, like I said, I have a recipe for that on my blog. Just look it up in the little search bar, and you'll be able to find it. It does take a little bit of time to make it because you do need to marinate the meat in the marinade that you cook up. It takes a couple of unusual things like juniper berries, but you can find that at a good quality grocery store that has a variety of herbs and spices. I'm thinking I think I bought mine at like a Harris Teeter or Kroger or something like that. No, I didn't. I don't think I marinated it for 4 days. I think it's maybe 48 hours or something like that. It's probably been about 2 years since I've made it, I think. So I would have to go look. I do know you do marinate it for quite a bit. Oh, another skunk, Eva. Oh. Yeah, Mr. Smith actually saw one outside night before last. He was standing out there and came inside. He's like, "Hey, come here. You got to see this." And went out and looked, and sure enough, there was a skunk roaming around on the outside of the garden fence, which, you know, I'm not going to worry about a skunk out there. But the next morning, yesterday morning, when I went out to do my morning chores, I noticed a bunch of dig spots in the garden. So it had apparently climbed over the fence and gotten in there and done a little digging, which right now there's nothing too much that they can mess with. So what can you do? Where is the Mr. tonight? Camera shy. So Mr. Smith swears that he is not going to get in any of the live chats because he can't stand his voice on camera. And I told him, you're not hearing your voice on camera because you're talking to the camera. And I don't know. Yes, he's bashful. So something else. One of these days, I'm going to keep pestering him. One of these days, I'm going to get him on here because I have a couple of chats that I would like to do with him, and I can't do them until I can convince him. Oh, that's awesome, Atkins family. I tell you what, having FaceTime and being able to see your kids when they're far away is fantastic. You know, when we were young military family, back when I was pregnant with Joshua, my middle child, he was stationed, my husband was stationed in Korea. Back then, there was no internet. There was none of this stuff, and we couldn't afford a bunch of phone calls because, you know, you had to pay for those. And he was allowed to call once a month at no cost using the MWR phone back then. And that was rough. That was a rough year. So then when, you know, the deployment started, the first couple of deployments, there was next to no communication. But then like the third, fourth, and fifth deployments, we could get on here, and back then we used Yahoo Instant Messenger, and we could FaceTime each other with that. And we were able to do that almost every single day. And it was great because it made it feel like it was almost like he wasn't gone. I mean, not completely, but almost. You could think it. Oh, thank you, Robin. I'm actually going and getting it cut this week. Not doing much. I'm just getting it trimmed up, cleaned up, because it's been close to 2 years, year and a half, somewhere around there, since I've had anything done to it other than me trimming my own bangs, ever since my Brittany moved away. So I found a local girl who looks like she does a good job. So fingers crossed. I mean, shouldn't be too hard because all she's got to do is trim it up, you know. So, but you never know. It's always new dentists, new hair people. Those are always stressful. Yeah, it's actually been quite a while since my hair's been this long. It's been longer, but the longest I've had it, it was down to my hips. And I do hope to actually grow it that long again, but I want to keep it healthy in the process because some of this hair down here at the bottom is hair that was at one point bleached and highlighted. And so over time, you know, a few trims here and there will kind of get rid of that stuff so that it's all undamaged hair. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Yeah, she's been gone that long. This is Ute. Ute the cute. Sheena's jealous over there. Thank you, Cindy. Ava's sitting over there in the corner of the kitchen like, what the heck is going on? Hey, hey, hey. Quit. Now you got them wound up. It's a zoo around here. I'm just saying. Oh, there they go. Oh, Duke was actually standing right down here, and so was Shotzi when he was holding Ute in the camera. They're a mess. So yeah, I go Tuesday to get my hair cut, and hopefully, you know, yeah, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. So hopefully, I just hope she doesn't take off too much. You know what I mean? My idea of an inch is not always their idea of an inch. Hi, Rhonda. Welcome. Good to see you. Yes, I am doing much better. I still sound bad because it's like I always end up with like bronchitis anytime I have anything. So I feel better even if I don't sound it. But coming along. I can sleep at night. That's good. So definitely on the mend, which is good since I'll be traveling this week. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of dogs. I feel your pain, Robin. My daughter has 4 German Shepherds. I'm just saying. Ah, my coffee's good. Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of tea, a lot of echinacea, elderberry, and I always put local raw honey in there. Sometimes a little lemon. It just depends. Yeah, 4 German Shepherds, and 2 of them are special needs dogs. One's an amputee, so she's a tripod, and then one of them has seizures and has a medication. So yeah, and every one of them's crazy. Yeah. Boot camp was tough, but at least boot camp's not too terribly long. Aw. Yep. Yeah, those are good dogs, Rhonda. Replacements. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. When they get older, especially the bigger dogs, they have a lot of health problems. Oh, I've never heard that before. Putting apple cider vinegar in a vaporizer to help. That sounds a little, that sounds strong. I mean, maybe if you use like an organic one like Rags or something, but I've been putting, I have the On Guard and Nature's Shield, which those are two different versions of basically your germ fighting type of essential oil blend. And I've been using those in the diffusers. Not that I could smell them, but it was running. So like today is, I think, the first day I can actually smell things, which is fantastic. Plus it clears the sinuses. Yeah, maybe that's what it would do. Clear the sinuses. Yeah, he said clear everything. Yeah, because I mean, when I make that, I mentioned earlier, I have a Carolina barbecue that I do. When you are cooking that sauce, it has apple cider vinegar in the sauce. And man, when that stuff starts boiling, it clears your sinuses, whether it needs it or not. So I would imagine that putting apple cider vinegar in one like that would probably help. It's probably one of those old-timey, home remedies, like where you put the hot water in the bowl and the towel over your head kind of thing. Wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a lot of wisdom in many of the old-time remedies that are out there. There's a reason that they've been around for a long time, and often it's because they work. Yeah, that's true. People use apple cider vinegar for everything. They do. I question some of the things people use it for, but it's handy stuff. I know I use it for a lot of things, mostly cleaning and sanitizing and all of that. I use it a lot in my household type stuff. Are you going to do any other devotional type videos? I have a couple that I've actually been thinking about for some time now, and it's just a matter of me getting the thoughts down on paper. I don't like to do a script or anything like that, but I do like to have an outline just to clarify my thoughts before I do those, to make sure I'm getting what I have in here out in a way that is easily understood. And so I do have a couple things that I've been wanting to talk about, devotionals that I've been wanting to film. I just haven't done them yet, but there will be some more coming, Cindy. Mr. has to get his guts out to make those videos with you. I've been following since the beginning, and you guys are such a great couple with interesting life experiences. Aw, thank you, Robin. Oh, yeah, putting apple cider vinegar on French fries. I have heard that, and it seems to me that's a cultural thing, and I can't remember who it is that does that. Putting vinegar on potatoes. Who is it that does that? Or maybe it's a regional thing? I can't remember. It's like right there, and I can't quite get it. Yeah, I'm going to try to. Hello, Jason. Welcome. Did you make that wreath? No, I did not make that wreath. I had a kickoff event that I went to about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, for the Military Spouses Club, which they've renamed it, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was the Redstone Military Spouses Club. And it was the kickoff for that. And when they have kickoffs like that, they'll have local vendors, people who come and sell their crafts, and they can set up a table and everything. And there was a lady who was selling wreaths and little pumpkins like this. And I picked these two up from her because they were very, very reasonably priced. And I just thought it was lovely. And I've never really made wreaths. I mean, I think I've made a couple way back when I did crafty stuff, but I could buy that for much less than it would cost me to go out and buy all the stuff that I would need to do it. You know what I mean? But this, yeah, this is so cute. Now this I think I know how to do. This is just like a styrofoam pumpkin form with flannel wrapped around it, pressed down in the center with a stick and a leaf hot glued on there. The stick is like pushed in, holding the fabric in place. That would be super, super easy. And I'm sure incredibly inexpensive to make because styrofoam forms are just, you know, a few cents. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've got tons of scraps of fabric like flannel and stuff like that around the house. And I definitely have plenty of sticks out there. Can you, oh yeah, yeah, you could use a cinnamon stick too. That would be nice. I've seen cinnamon sticks done where people take and make pumpkins out of canning rings, the jar rings, and just kind of loop them all together and make that pumpkin shape and hot glue a cinnamon stick down in the middle as the stem. On one of your videos, a praying mantis was on your hummingbird feeder. Did he come back? Love seeing you count them. Thank you, Peggy. He's not back yet. I'm surprised he's not back yet because usually he goes right back over there. But maybe he's content in the butterfly bush now. Or maybe he's just gotten tired of traveling all the way back over there. But so far he's not on the hummingbird feeder. But yeah, we have a lot of praying mantises, and I think there's more than one species out there because there's some that are kind of speckled in color, and then there's other ones that they have a different shape and different coloring. And now praying mantises can actually change color. They're kind of like a chameleon or lizard where they can change from a green color to a brown color depending upon what they're on. So like if they're on something that's brown, they can turn into this kind of mottled brown color. And then if they move and they're over on green leaves, they can actually turn green to match the leaves. But they're still, you know, different species do have like different variations of those colors. So you can kind of see the different, you can kind of tell apart even though they can change colors. That makes sense. But it's pretty cool because like when I was cleaning the front garden area and I tore down all of the cucumber plants, there was a whole bunch of praying mantises up on those vines, and I didn't want to hurt them, and so I was one by one moving them all over to the plants that weren't going anywhere. And when they were on the dry cucumber vines, they were all brown, and I moved them over to like some pineapple sage plants. And about an hour later, I went by and looked down, and they were all, I could still find most of them, and now they were all green. So that was kind of cool. Are your lime flowers still producing? I don't know. I don't know what flowers those are. What are they eating? The praying mantises, they're eating anything they can catch. They spend a lot of time on our butterfly. We've got butterfly bushes out front, and just like the name says, they are completely covered in butterflies and moths and all of that. And so there's plenty for them to catch out there. Rhonda, I'm not sure which flowers you're talking about. I don't know what the lime flowers are. Karen. Oh, yes, the queen lime zinnias. Yes. They are still producing, and I've got some out in the front. They kind of fell over from that storm that we had, and they're kind of laid over, but they're still going. And then out in the big garden, I had a little patch of the queen lime zinnias there too, and they're still producing. I love those flowers. I actually planted not more queen limes, but I did plant some other zinnias in my seed tray that I have started, and they're about this big. And so there's some mazurkias and some state fair, I think they were, and then a few more of those Persian carpet zinnias. And so I will be planting those out in the garden beds before too long, once they're big enough and I can transition them out there, harden them off. Growing up, I found a cocoon and I thought it would be butterflies, but I got a surprise when praying mantis came out. Yeah, they have the neatest their little seed, or not seed, but their egg sacs are very neat looking. What color is the Persian? The Persian is basically it's orange, but then they have different variations. Some are like red with orange. Sometimes they're orange with yellow. They're interesting. When they first started blooming, this is the first year I've grown them. When they first started blooming, I wasn't too impressed with them because they just reminded me too much of marigolds. But that was when they first started. But then as they continued to bloom, the flowers just started having more and more variation. And I fell in love with them and decided that they were the perfect fall flower. I wonder if you can transplant zinnias. They're so beautiful right now, and I'd love to take over to our new house. You probably can. I mean, it just depends on how big they are. Just like any other plant, if it's too big, it might be hard to get the root system out. But I mean, it's always worth a try, you know. At the very least, any of the heads that are drying up, take those dry heads and save them because they're completely full of seeds, just like marigolds and a lot of other flowers. And you can always start another patch with those seeds. Yes, Rhonda, I have shown those. They were out in the front garden area by the cucumbers. So they were pretty. Yeah, give it a shot, Atkins family, because, I mean, it's always worth a try. If they don't make it, they don't make it. But if they do, then you got flowers, you know. We've moved a lot over the years. I know there's a couple people like Ron, who's on here. She is one of my fellow Army wives from back in the day, and we've moved a lot. This home that we have here, our homestead here, is my 19th home as an adult, not counting my childhood homes. And so that's a lot of moving. That's a lot of sometimes flowers transplanted anytime we could. Sometimes you can't take stuff with you like that, depending on where you're going. But, man, if I had the ability to, I always try to transplant stuff. Better to dig it up and it not make it than not even try. Yeah, definitely if there's like bulbs or something like that too, because, you know, you can definitely try and take those with you. Plain Speakers is on house number 16. You know, a lot of moving. I am done. I didn't mind it while we were in the Army. I actually kind of looked forward to the PCSs and seeing someplace new. It was, I mean, you know, there's always the hardships of leaving behind people that you have grown to love and all that.
12 years in one place.
Yeah, he's at, especially after spending 12 years in one place. It was, we stayed at Fort Bragg for 12 years straight, and so we had some shallow roots planted there, and so it was hard to leave there, but it was also exciting to leave because from there we of course went to Alaska. But so I didn't mind it while we were in the Army, but once retirement from active duty was approaching, buddy, I was over it. I was done. I was ready for this to be my last move, because there's always those things that you want to be able to do, but you can't do until it's your own home, until it's your own land. And while military housing or rentals or anything like that, we always took care of a house as though it was ours. You know, we planted flowers and we'd make the place lovely. And it was always a blessing, I hope, to the following residents. But it was always hard leaving that stuff behind. And so now, knowing that the flowers that we plant, we'll be able to see them come back year after year, and we can work on the projects and build the things that we can enjoy. Yeah, done with the moving. Yeah, he needs to put his face in the camera. He ain't gonna move. He's in the recliner now, and he's got a Shotzi on him. Huh? Oh, you were just told that you need to come put your face in the camera. Excuse me. Getting a little sniffly here. House number 14. Yeah. Oh, he's coming. You peer pressured him into it.
Well, let me grab my hat.
Oh, he's got to grab his hat first. Well, hurry up because the live stream's almost over, honey.
I cover up my hair.
Yeah, scoot closer to me. Look, Mr. Smith. Ron says, I win.
Got it.
That's what my son and daughter-in-law do as well. They've planted some flowers at Schofield Barracks, Fort Jackson, and Fort Hood. Yeah, Schofield Barracks is definitely a good place to plant some flowers in Hawaii. Yeah, we did that just about, well, not every place that we lived. You know, when we were young and the kids were babies, I didn't really have a lot of time to do that or necessarily the ability to do that. But once I started, I think the first time we grew stuff was in Germany, and I had flower boxes on the balcony, and we grew tomatoes. What else? Do you remember what else we grew? I know we grew some tomatoes, some cherry tomatoes, maybe some peppers. I don't remember.
Hello, Peggy.
Shotzi's giving him 5 over here. He's high-fiving Mr. Smith. Hi, baby. So, but once we did that, we were kind of hooked, and then from there, just sort of grew. Oh, Cheetah Sue. Now they're jealous. I think from that point forward, we pretty much grew stuff just about every house that we lived in. Germany weather like the East Coast. I would compare it to living in Wisconsin because it's a little bit northern. I know when we were there, the sun. Well, most places in Germany don't have air conditioning because it doesn't usually get that hot. So it's a more northern climate. But then also, oh, Atkins family, thank you for joining. Have a great week.
Date night.
Who's going? Where? Who?
Plain speaker.
Oh, plain speaker.
Date night. We all pick our date nights.
Yeah. No, we should do this as a date night. I think that's a good idea.
That's ridiculous.
He's a mess. But yeah, and when we lived there, where we were in Schweinfurt at first, and then we moved to Kissigan, and the sun came up at like 4 in the morning and didn't go down until 10, and so that just kind of is the indication of where you're at on the globe. So, and of course, cold winters and all of that. So it was very comparable to Wisconsin. They bought a portable planter for the grands to grow vegetables. That way they can bring it to the next duty station. That's a great idea. What? Hickory. I've seen them. YouTube date night. Yep.
Maybe at a golf course.
Michelle's son was at Vilsack, almost the same latitude. So weather was similar to New Jersey. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in the wild flicking.
Well, looking. And Mr. Smith actually was over there as an Army brat in high school and went to.
Well, I was born there.
Yeah, well, we were both born there.
And then I went back as a high school person in Wurzburg.
Mm-hmm.
Wurzburg Wolves.
Wurzburg American High School.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was funny because he went to high school there. And then years later, we were stationed in Germany, and our son Jack was born in Würzburg. So, yeah. and then both of us born in Germany. So she might need to go outside, honey. Not sure where my uncle was stationed there. I know he liked the Volksmarches. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. Hello, Kay Dean from Central New York.
Outside.
Go outside. I think they're just looking for attention.
All right, go on.
Spoiled dogs. In and out, in and out, in and out. All right, honey. Well, it's about time to actually wrap this up.
All right, well, let me grab Fatty Boom Batty.
Oh, he's going to show you another animal. The cranky one. That's Hickory. This is Hickory Pete, our old man, our fat man.
Look at his belly.
Put him down. Poor dude. Oh, goodness. We are not too far from Fort Drum.
I was just up there.
Yeah.
That drum.
Yeah. He travels to different places with his work and was just at Fort Drum not too long ago. Yes, he's 19 pounds.
Absolutely
Hickory.
fell in love with Watertown.
Yes, and he was going on and on about how we need to sell everything here and move to upstate New York. And I wanted to kick him in the shins, and I said, "You lost your mind." Mainly because it was too hot here. Yeah.
Watertown's amazing with the rivers coming through there.
Yeah. Yeah, he took a bunch of pictures and sent them to me. We've had a lot of USO guests headed to Watertown. Michelle volunteers at the USO there.
Love the USO.
Yeah, very pretty in the summer.
Good people.
Do you also kayak?
Whenever I get a chance.
Yeah.
I work.
Yeah.
So I really don't get a chance. When I don't work, I like to play golf. So
Yeah. Golfing is kind of his hobby. Winter is bad but beautiful. My daughter lives in Watertown. Yeah, a lot of snow. But I mean, oh, dogs.
heck?
Chasing a ball, I think. Yep.
Yep. Thank you.
Shotzi can sneak under the gate, and then it upsets the other dogs because they want to get in here too. Alrighty. Well, it is 7:03, so we are past our times. We will go ahead and wrap this up, and maybe we can convince Mr. Smith to join in next time. There will not be a live chat next week because I will be traveling. So it'll be the week after that we will be doing the next live chat. So I just wanted to let you guys know, a little reminder that I'll be on the road. So thanks for joining us again this week. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for joining in for a little bit. And we'll talk to you guys all next time. Thanks, Cindy. Thank you, Ron. Y'all have a great week.